My name is Mary Bernt, and I am the owner of Veggies, which is a health food store and a vegan cafe in Ardmore, Oklahoma. I also do health and nutrition centers around the health and nutrition seminars around the United States. And tonight I want to just share with you probably my most passionate subject, which has to do with how we eat, but specifically with our kids. In our world today, over $330 billion a year are being spent on psychotropic drugs. Those are the kind of drugs that people take for depression, for anxiety, and for mental illness. In fact, one of those drugs, which is used for depression, every minute in the United States, $125,000 worth of that drug is purchased. And so I just want to share with you why I'm passionate about this, because I don't believe that depression, anxiety, hyperactivity, ADD, HDD, or any of the above disorders are the result of a deficiency of a pharmaceutical drug. It frustrates me to no end that we're always looking for a new drug to solve these kinds of problems, instead of looking at our lifestyle and diet. In fact, I recently watched on internet a PBS special about children who were being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. These children were 4 and under, and they were being given very dangerous psychotropic drugs for this disorder. And as they went about watching these children, some of them for a period of up to 10 years, they went into their homes, and it fascinated me to see that in these homes, these kids were eating foods that obviously were very nutritionally deficient, and that nutrition was not, however, a focus of the documentary at all. And so I just want to share with you some things that I've learned. One of my favorite books is a book called Food, Teens, and Behaviors. It's written by a woman named Barbara Reed. I believe that the new publication is called Food and Behavior. You can purchase that book on Amazon. Barbara was a probation officer in a county in Ohio back in the late 60s and early 70s. And at the time that Barbara was a probation officer there, she had a plethora of young people coming through her office on a day-by-day basis that were struggling with juvenile delinquency. Now, in the county at the time, their recidivism rate was 97%. Barbara herself had some health issues, and she went to her doctor and asked him to help her out, and he was unable to do that. She actually went through several doctors, and finally she found a doctor who was willing to help her with nutrition. And he told her, "Barbara, I want you to start eating a high-fiber, low-fat diet." And at some point in time, and I'm not certain when that happened, she actually became a vegetarian. And she noticed that as soon as she made that jump to a total vegetarian diet that was very high in fiber, very low in fat, she started drinking water, she got rid of all the pop, all the candy, all the fast food, all of these things out of her diet, she started experiencing abundant health. And she got to thinking about these kids that were coming into her office day in and day out with their Cokes and their candy bars and their junk food. And she went to this doctor and she said, "Do you think that diet could have anything to do with the juvenile delinquency that our state is plagued with?" And he said, "Absolutely." So she and this doctor went before a judge with a plan, and the judge decided to back them up. And now, if you are a juvenile delinquent and Barbara Reed is your probation officer, well, guess what? You are going on a low-fat, high-fiber diet that does not include Twinkies, Ho-Hos, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco John's, Taco Bell, Arby's, or any fast food of any kind. No Pepsi, no Coke, no 7-Up, no Dr. Pepper, no candy. In fact, what you get to eat are fruits and vegetables and lean meat. They didn't think they could make them complete vegetarians, so they told them to eat lean meat. But otherwise, their diet was full of nutritionally dense rather than nutritionally deficient food. And an amazing thing happened, and in fact, Barbara followed these kids for 10 to 15 years. There were hundreds of them in this little study, if you will. And at the end of that time period, they found that in that group of young people, they only had a 13% recidivism rate. Now, Barbara claims that the